Well, that was a bonanza, a brass bonanza, if you will. Did you see that last night, by the way? You see the Whalers play the Nordiques? How sick were those jerseys? You know, I have a soft spot in my heart for teams who have been yanked from their cities, and the Whalers especially, because as an Islanders fan, you know, Long Island has one team, the New York Islanders. And that's how I always felt about the Whalers. It was Connecticut's only pro sports team, and they taketh away. But it was good to see them last night. Good to see the Nordiques. Fantastic jerseys. It was a brass bonanza. Goals were flowing last night, and we were due one of those nights. Now, that doesn't mean that some of the sniffs we gave out here were any good. It was a bad two. I will sacrifice a night of my own pride and sniffs for the goals that were out there, because I know when goals are plentiful and teams are scoring 7, I know all your pirate parlays are cashing, absurd ones, but there were a ton of goals, a 7 spot here, a 7 spot there, and it was good to see. Good to see. Obviously, a night like that is good for any sort of line combo, so anything that you had out there probably did well. Here on a Friday, 4 games. It's kind of what I like to see typically. You know, I like something where I can digest it and actually watch some of the games, because when there's this whole plethora of games like on Tuesday, the frozen frenzy that they try to get you all amped for, you just can't. It's not like the NFL where you can just go from game to game because there's constant pauses in those games. It's impossible to enjoy that many simultaneous hockey games going on. So we got a 4-game Friday, and I got good news for you. There will be a day where I look, even if it's in the middle of the night, and I don't see any good values, because the values, one by one, they dissipate as the season goes on, like dropping that sand in the pool, and it starts to dissipate. But we're not there yet. We are still seeing some good values. And I mean, these are basic snakeonomics plays. You want to know what the best part of last night was, for me at least? I mean, you know, maybe I was one sniff ahead. I told you guys a couple days ago, what an incredible value for Will Smith, who's going to be playing on that top line with Tyler Toffoli and Maclin Celebrini. So I wanted Will Smith and Maclin Celebrini. And I didn't want Tyler Toffoli because I said, I just have a feeling his fat ass is going to be plumped in front of the net. Did you see last night? All those bets that I gave you for the previous game against the Islanders. The Will Smith point. He had 3 points. I gave you the 2 points for Celebrini. Will Smith, 1 game too early. But the best part about it, Tyler Toffoli had no points. His fat ass was plumped in front of the net, and he had no points. Oh my God, I couldn't just give that 1 game later. I could not give that 1 game later, because that would have been an all-timer where I just neglected the third member of the line, and then the other 2 went off. Well, here is the good news. I don't know why, but Will Smith is being offered at a preposterous number. I told you a couple games ago, when he plays with Maclin Celebrini, I mean, they're a bunch of 6'7" besties out there. They love each other's company. You know, they're really good friends, and they have great chemistry on the ice. Anytime they play, this is like their second multi-point game. Now, remember, they didn't play together in that middle chunk of games. They played together early in the year, multi-point performances. They played against the Islanders together, had a ton of chances. Will Smith didn't come through, but then last night, 3 points each, I believe. So they're taking the ice the very next night. If this was an older team, I'd be a little worried, yeah, maybe for Toffoli, but I wasn't going to take him anyway. But going back to Will Smith, there's no reason this guy should be over plus 120. They're scoring. And by the way, remember when I brought up Dmitry Orlov just by necessity, because there's no Klingberg, so somebody has to be sitting at the top of that power play? This guy has an assist in every single game he was thrust into that role. You want to know what the top power play defenseman, the free assist, move it to your left, move it to your right is all about? Dmitry Orlov. We would have never, ever, ever talked about him getting a point. Has a point in every single game since he's just been standing there, dishing it to his left, dishing it to his right. So there's always going to be values. When you see a hot power play or a power play with some some good talent on it, and the Sharks do have some talented players, you could always look at that Orlov free. Oh my God, should we do it? Well, first, get yourself that Will Smith point. That's a great value. And just like last time, go ahead and take him and Maclin Celebrini, and I'm leaving that fat-ass Tyler Toffoli out. Now, typically, I would say, no, we can't take Orlov, because that's like if somebody is on a red run in roulette, and then we try to join in after like 3 straight reds. But that doesn't count, because I brought it up before his first game on the power play. I said if you can find him out there, his point prop's probably going to be ridiculous. So you know what? Keeping that at the forefront of your mind, the ridiculously priced power play 1 defenseman who needs to do nothing except move it over here or move it over there just to get a point. I'm going to go with Maclin Celebrini over 1.5 points and the assist for Dmitry Orlov. I believe this is hitting 2 of their 3 last games, so this is no different than any of the other 2 points for the best forward with the assist for the defenseman. No matter if it's Matt Barzal over 1.5 points with the assist for Matthew Schaefer, you can do this essentially with every single team, and many times it's going to work out for you. I could even look at another game, and we can kind of cook that up as well, because I'm going to be looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are going to be at home. I always like looking at them at home. They're going to be taking on the Washington Capitals, and we have 2 guaranteed solid values for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Names that we've said before, and you always got to pick who's it going to be. Am I going to go with the top line, top power play guy, or am I going to go with that second line top power play guy? I'm going with that second line top power play guy in Kent Johnson. I know Voronkov's a plus 110. Fully fine if you want to go with him, and you can do that whole line, him, Marchenko, Monahan. But I was fortunate enough to have, it was a day game the other day, because like I said, there are so many games on, I can only clock so many at the same time and truly pay attention. Kent Johnson has been flying these last couple of games, and that has been evidenced by the points that you're seeing him put up. I think that's 3 in the last 2 games. He really has been flying out there, and it's no surprise at all that he's been reinserted, and now I bet you he's going to be stapled on that top power play. So I'm going to go with Kent Johnson there. What did I just tell you? What did I just tell you about what you can do with those power play forwards and the defensemen? We can do Kent Johnson for a point and a Zach Werenski assist. If we're really feeling squirrely, I don't want to do it, because I don't think this is necessarily going to be a ruckus game at all. But you can do the 2 points for Kent Johnson with the assist. But that's usually reserved for when a player is too good. 1 point's not going to do anything for you. That's reserved for the Pasternaks or, the Artemi Panarin over 1.5 points with an Adam Fox assist. When you got somebody who's starting at a plus 105, kind of like Mackie Samoskevich last night. This was one of the good hits on the spreadsheet. Mackie Samoskevich for a point with the Seth Jones assist. If it was Reinhart, I would have had to go Sam Reinhart for 2 points. Depending on who you use for the point determines whether you have to take that guy for 1 or 2 points. That shouldn't be too difficult. If the guy made the All-Star team, you're going to have to take him for 2 points. If it's a random guy, a Snakeonomics play who you can get for a plus money point, then just use him for a point, and then that power play 1 defenseman for the assist. So I'm going Kent Johnson for a point and the Zach Werenski assist. And then once again, I'm going to end in a nice boring fashion, as I always like to do. I typically do well with predicting these boring games, although Marchessault didn't end up playing. That ended up being a really low-scoring, boring game. And I'm looking at 2 teams who have not been generating a lot of offense. The Winnipeg Jets, who got shut out by the Cockroach Kraken, who've been conceding to everybody. Yeah, that was real nice to see. On a night where everyone was scoring 15 goals. A nice 1-0 late in the 3rd game between the Kraken and the Jets. The Jets haven't been generating a ton of offense, and neither have the Calgary Flames. There's going to be no Connor Hellebuck in this game, but I don't think that matters too much when it's a game in Winnipeg. These games in Winnipeg, we used to call that the black hole of death up there, because it was that hard for the opponents to score. Now, the Kraken got to 3 goals. No, they scored 1 goal, and then they got 2 empty netters. It was a 3-goal total in that game. Now, you'd imagine that, Calgary knows that they haven't been scoring. Even their goaltender kind of half called them out. So they're going to want to score more, but that doesn't mean they're going to score whatsoever. Also, Nazem Kadri, I don't know. He missed practice. I don't know if he's going to be playing. So that's one of the few weapons who wouldn't be playing for Calgary. And then if you look at the advanced metrics for Winnipeg, they're not generating a lot of scoring chances. They have a good record. They've done well to this point. But I think like most Winnipeg teams, they're going to have to win a bunch of low-scoring games as the season progresses. Even if Hellebuck's not in there, I'm going to try to get this at an under 6.5. How am I going to do that? I'm going to take that under 6.5, and I'm going to look, who can I take? Who can I take on Calgary? I was thinking Morgan Frost. He's on the third line, but he is on power play 1. Give me Blake Coleman. Under 6.5. Under half of a point for Blake Coleman. That is how I am going to get that boring game. You should always watch because it's going to be the late game, and you know you're going to need that last leg of whatever pirate parlay to make your night, to save your night. Your night's going to be lost early, but then I guess it's going to be saved late night in a game between Calgary and Winnipeg. That's the game I love to know that a guy in the heart of Brooklyn is watching. A guy 2 blocks away from Barclays Center has everything riding on a Winnipeg Jets Calgary Flames game. Let me know. If that's you, really let me know. Let me know the most American place that nobody should be watching anything from Calgary or Winnipeg that you'll be watching that game from tonight. Let me know down below, and then the game. I'm leaving one game to you guys. That's what I think I'm going to do. I'm leaving one to you guys to figure out because this can go a bunch of different ways. Toronto, Buffalo. We've seen them play some crazy games, but is this the crazy Toronto team? They're going to be fine in the long run, but are they capable of ruckus? We're seeing William Nylander on line 1 to start the game, at least with Austin Matthews and Bobby McMahon. But what if that doesn't work out? That could switch halfway through. I want to come here and say, oh yeah, take Tavares and take Matthew Nyes because they're together on line 2. You can get a plus 150 point parlay, but we don't know if that's going to be broken up after a period. And then Buffalo, they've been winning some games. Do you want to trust some of those guys that we mentioned last time? Remember Benson? Zach Benson was, plus 110 when I brought him up to you a couple of days ago? Yeah, well, now, how does that work? He's like minus 125 against the Leafs. It's not like it's some bum team. He's a minus 125 against Leafs. So that is the game you guys have to figure out. So let me know your best Leafs-Sabres bets in the comments, and I'll go through them and see how you guys do once again. That is what I have for you here on a Friday. Good luck to you. But unfortunately, it's always going to be better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed here to the YouTube channel if you're enjoying these videos. You enjoy everything that you see going on here. I try to put out a decent amount of content as the week goes by. You can see the Sicilian bag start to grow as the sleep deprivation really starts to kick in. But if you are being entertained by everything here, show your appreciation. Don't be a prick where you come here, you don't give a click, and then you walk. This starts all the bad sports betting karma. Let's get that good sports betting karma. Like the video, comment on it. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Click the notification so you know when this video gets, sometimes it comes out at noon. Sometimes it comes out at the opposite 12 o'clock. It can come out at any time, which is why the notifications actually might be beneficial for you. And then the one thing that helps this video get seen by more people, I think it's worked, is when you guys hit that hype button. I think it works. More people have been watching, more people have been enjoying, and I'm happy to have all you new viewers and everybody who's been here for years. I'll be back with you on Monday to talk Monday NHL Sniffs. Hopefully I have more good sniffs, more good news to report. I will talk to you then. Have a good weekend.